Hello and welcome to a digital classroom study with Sudhir. I had put out a video which talked about a 10-day timetable, a 10-day regimen, the 5S formula in order to move from a 60% to even 85 to 90%, because there are just about 10 days left for the ICSE exam class 10. But any exam for that matter, if you follow the 10-day regimen and the 5S formula, you have a decent chance of success. And this was primarily meant for students who have a lot of backlog, haven't finished all their chapters, what to do. There's a lot of worry, there's a lot of anxiety as to whether they will end up in the 60s or the 70s or actually manage to move into the high 80s. Okay. Today I'm going to put out another video, and this is meant for another group of students, and this is meant for those students who have managed to do one good solid comprehensive revision of all the chapters in all the subjects so far. You know, the goody boys and girls who are pretty well organized, who have managed one good revision, and now they can only spend time doing a second, third and fourth revision, right? So what should those students do? Should those students put their feet up and say, "Hamara to ho gaya, now we can relax"? No. How do you actually spend these 10 days? Because these 10 days are crucial. If you are at the 90, 92 mark, how do you push the envelope and move to a high 95 to 98 kind of a range? It's not difficult. It's actually possible, because it's almost like this. When you are near the peak, just imagine if you are climbing Mount Everest or Mount Kanchenjunga, the more you reach towards the peak, the oxygen supply actually drops. It actually goes down. You find it more difficult to breathe. It is here that the competition is going to be tougher. It's in fact easier to move from a 60 to a 70, from a 70 to an 80. A little more difficult to move from an 80 to a 90. But from 90 to 98, 99, each and every 0.1% is actually more difficult. So what do you really need to do in order to get that every 0.1%, every 1% mark, in order to move closer to the high 90s or at least the mid 90s? So this is a regimen in the last 10 days. What you should do, a 5-step formula, 5 simple tips that you should do in order to ensure that you are there, staying focused, staying on top of your game, as they say. Okay, so the first thing that you definitely need to do is to have your timetable organized in such a way that you are actually practicing writing your examination papers between that 9 and 1:30 time period. Why I mentioned this long time frame is that CBSE has a different timing of their examination, ICSE has a different timing, 11 to 1. Some exams go on till about 1:30, like mathematics, Hindi goes on for longer. So a 9 to 1:30 kind of a range. You definitely ensure that you are solving 1 or 2 board papers depending on what you want to do, but ensure that you kind of simulate an examination hall kind of an atmosphere. This is very important, because you get your biological clock also will get used to the fact that you will be needing to write an exam at that point in time. Also, over the last many months, except the pre-boards, when you wrote the examination, your hands are not used to writing that long. You know, the other day I was writing an application form, and since I'm not used to writing these days, I found it actually difficult to even fill up one application form. So get used to your pen, the pen that you will use in the examination, exactly the same pen. Get used to writing for those 2 hours in a focused and in a manner that kind of tests your concentration power. So ensure that you write a paper in this time frame. It could be 9 to 11, it could be 11 to 1, 10 to 12. You decide your timing, but ensure that in this band you are not doing anything else. Don't study, don't sleep, don't go out anywhere. Just ensure that you are trying to write and simulate the examination atmosphere. Number 2, mark out portions, and this is an important tip. You must have done about 90% of the syllabus, no doubt, but there would certainly be portions in certain subjects where you would be less than confident. Mark out those chapters, go back to them either early morning when you are fresh and raring to go, or late night if you are a late night bird, or any time of the day. Ensure that you mark out, say, each subject, that there are these specific portions which I will need to revise again, because I am not 100% out there. So clear the concepts, work on them all over again so that you have kind of, covered the last mile also. Number 3, and this is something which I really would urge all of you to do. Help out a weak classmate or another weak student. Reach out to anyone you know who would be in need of help, who would be in need of getting his or her concepts cleared. Okay, what it does is twofold. It will obviously help your friend. It will obviously help your friend to kind of, get his or her concepts cleared, understand the subject or that particular chapter better. It will also help you revise, and you will get an idea कि how well you have mastered that particular chapter, कि आप कितने पानी में हैं आपको पता चल जाएगा. So please do that. Reach out to any of your classmates at a mutually convenient time. Sit down with him or her. You could do it over the phone, but you could sit down with him or her and generally revise it so that both of you will actually benefit. It will be like a symbiotic relationship of sorts, and both of you will benefit from that particular exercise that you will do. Number 4, apart from the chapters where you are less confident and you would be obviously revising, please pay attention to specific things in different subjects where actually you can score a 10 on 10 or a 20 on 20, but these are also the areas where students end up losing marks. For instance, focusing on drawing the diagrams neatly and accurately in subjects like biology and physics, working on the maps and the topo sheets in geography. This is very important. Please work on them. Please use this time to actually work on the topo sheets and the maps. Work on your English grammar, Hindi grammar, because the more you practice, the better you will get at it. In fact, we'll be doing a whole lot of exercises over the next 10 days on English grammar. So please tune in to Study with Sudhir, the video classes, in order to test yourself as to how much you know as well. Okay, so English grammar, Pressy writing, those 8 marks which come as part of the comprehension 20 marks. There's another place where students end up getting a 6 out of 8 or a 7 out of 8. So please focus on summary writing. That's very important. Essay writing, which is a huge 20 mark. The more you practice on anything, you just need to get used to the craft of writing a 2-page comprehensive, crisp kind of an essay. The more you practice, the better you will get. Computer programming, that's another area. So I've listed out about 6-7 different things in different subjects. So ensure that you devote a certain amount of time, an hour and a half every day, to focus on these kind of areas where you actually have the potential to score very high marks, but you actually many students actually end up losing marks in the bargain. And last is actually a don't rather than a do. Do not be overconfident just because you have finished most of your syllabus. Do not decide to take a break and go for a movie. Sorry, this is not the time to do that. Don't brag before fellow students that I have finished all my syllabus, why are you still at only 50% of the syllabus? Don't brag to fellow students. Don't appear very cocky and overconfident that I am there, mera to sab ho gaya hai. I see a lot of students doing that. Overconfidence can actually be your biggest enemy. So don't do that. Stay rooted, stay grounded. Try to do everything as well as possible. There will always be weak areas because a lot of data has been fed into this brain. Don't trust this brain to remember everything on the day of the examination. So keep revising your things so that whatever you have learned so far, revise it. So divide it into 3 parts. Whatever you know very well, revise it for a short while. Whatever you think you know 50-50 and may forget, or you get the feeling or feeling anxious about it, revise it well. And then there are these other things like topo sheets and diagrams that I mentioned. Practice them again and again and again so that you get even better at it. Okay, so those are my 5 tips for students who have finished at least 90 to 95% or even 100% of the syllabus. What to do in the next 10 days is what they are wondering. Do not waste time in playing video games or PUBG or wanting to go for a movie or doing a Netflix or Amazon Prime. This is not the time for that. Okay, so all the best to you. Like, comment and share this video. Subscribe to Study with Sudhir and share it with all your classmates and friends who may also be needing this kind of an advice. Thank you very much for watching.